What is going on, everyone? Today is a day that is followed by a tremendous amount of warfare yesterday, and I really think it's related to what I'm about to tell you because the enemy didn't want me to do this video. What I want to tell you is that this is the most significant time we have been watching for the Lord to come, rapture his people, according to 1 Thessalonians 4:16, since I started watching several years ago. This is literally the time of all times where I would literally say, there's nothing to watch after this. Because the Bible itself gives you some dates that if you calculate it, you end up in the early part of November for when the tribulation should start, and therefore the rapture of the church will have taken place. And that's November 6th. Now, if you look at the generation that Jesus referred to, looking at the fig tree being Israel, that will see the return of Christ, the rapture, and the tribulation, it's 80 years, according to Psalm 90. So if you add 80 years to 1948, when Israel was born, you end up at 2028. Well, the Lord would be coming back on Judgment Day, the Day of Atonement, which is actually on September 30th, 2028. So if you subtract 7 years, you land right here. Here we are, 2021, which is also interesting, being that 21-0 America dream is always was about the tribulation and therefore the rapture. So if you calculate a 360-day year, which is biblical, that's a year in Bible prophetic language, if you times that by 7 years, you end up with 2,520 days. 2,520 days. And you've seen 1260 day counts several times in the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel, the three and a half years, 42 months, okay? So if you subtract exactly 2,520 days from September 30th, 2028, you get November 6th, 2021. That to me is mind-blowing, because these are dates in the Bible given. And so God left the dates, the numbers of day counts, numbers of days, years, months, the fig tree generation. He gave us that. Basically, all you have to do is calculate it. He gave that to us to calculate, and that's where it takes you. So, where do you go from here? I mean, this is why I would say, how could we not be leaving between now and November 6th? Now, what's really interesting is that on November 3rd is literally the day, according to the Torah calendar, where God said to Noah and those in the ark, get out of the ark. Come out of the ark. That would hit on November 3rd. And 3 days later is the tribulation. So I wanted to give you that. So I'll probably show you something later when I edit this. So basically we have here birth of Israel 1948 plus 80 years. Takes you to 2028. This would be the 80th Day of Atonement, would be on September 30th. 2028. So if you take September 30th and you subtract 7 years of the tribulation, and you use the 360 days a year biblical count, that times 7 is 2,520 biblical days, and that subtracted from the Day of Atonement in 2028 on September 30th would bring you to November 6th, 2021. Reading from Genesis 7 and verse 14. In the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. So there's your 27th day of the second month. God spoke to Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, thy sons and thy sons' wives with thee. So this is the day that God said, come out of the ark. Second month, 27th day. And we have the second month. This is 8th because this is the Torah, but before that time, the 8th month was the second month. And you have the civil calendar and the religious calendar. But before God told Moses to change the calendar, this month would have been the second month. So, here we have the 27th day of the second month is November 3rd.